Good morning, and the Lord be with you. I'm Pastor Philip Million, and I'm coming to you from the Southminster Presbyterian Church at 1923 East Broadway Road in Phoenix, Arizona. Some of you may be sports fans, and some of you may not be. But everyone who follows sports, I'm going to hazard a guess here, probably, of course, has their own ideas of which sport they think is the best. And many people will sometimes think of their favorite sports in terms of which is the toughest and the roughest sport, or possibly maybe even what might be the most exciting sport. But they also probably look at sports in terms of the strategy and the mental preparedness that is probably involved. Now, we have to consider that every sport has its own uniqueness, and it probably really isn't a matter of which sport is best, but rather we just need to acknowledge that each sport is different and exciting in its own way. But I want you to think about this. Have you ever thought about which is the loneliest sport? That's right, the loneliest sport. It's probably well known that, of course, that many sports have teams and players compete against each other in a very organized sort of way, with the players interacting with each other as well as against the members of the other team. And we need to think also, though, possibly about what sports are there in which competitors are essentially by themselves, in which they are on their own, left to their own ability and determination that's really kind of independent of anything else. The sport that comes to my mind when I think of it that way is cross-country running. Here, the long-distance runner is all by him or herself, and there's no one out there to help him. Now, yes, there are other runners around, but what that athlete is doing, they are by themselves in what they do. They're on their own. And they're competing over a very challenging terrain. Sometimes it can actually be dramatically uphill. And over that rough terrain, the runner continues on with their heart pounding and their chest heaving, and they feel like their legs are going to fall off and they're just going to collapse in exhaustion. Folks, cross country is not an easy sport to compete in. And you know, life can be sometimes that way also. Sometimes we feel alone in the trials that we experience, and it may seem like there's no one else around us who can help out. We may feel exhausted and worn out by the hardship and sometimes the distress and even the persecution that we might sometimes experience. It can be hard sometimes. And people may even sometimes feel that others turn against them. And even sometimes they may have friends that seem to turn against them. And sometimes we just feel like it's not worth it in continuing on and trying and persevering as we obviously try to do. And you know, the Apostle Paul experienced the very same thing. There were times when he experienced distress and loneliness and felt like others were against him. But And this is the important part. He also knew that if God is for us, then who can be against us? Think about that. If God is for us, which of course he is, but if God is for us, then who can be against us? And therein lies one of the great blessings of our faith. Our lectionary readings for this Sunday come from the 128th Psalm and from the book of Romans, which my message is coming from, the 8th chapter, verses 26 through 39. May God's blessings be with you, and have a great day and be safe. Goodbye.